Hey, what's your Buzz, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we will share with you one of the topics that has been ongoing for quite some time, and I will take this opportunity to actually try to address it. And one of the things is that people are, hobbyists are very afraid of ammonia. So whenever we hear the word ammonia, oh, it is something that is very dangerous or very risky, and we will try to avoid having them as much as we can. I think one of the biggest reasons for having that is because ammonia got a bad name to it. Ammonia is like the killer of all, fishes, streams, and things like that. However, we have to really understand that we require ammonia to actually build up beneficial bacteria. Beneficial bacteria actually consumes and in turn convert ammonia to nitrite and then to nitrate. So how do we actually use the calyx ball and then have it releasing ammonia for a period of time and then still be able to fully utilize it? One of the biggest reasons is because while we are always focusing on ammonia, we tend to forget that beneficial bacteria is the one that is lacking. So if we have sufficient beneficial bacteria, then ammonia is not a problem, because then they will be able to convert from ammonia to nitrite and then to nitrate. So whenever we talk about ammonia, it's just one side of the story. I know there have been YouTubers, they are YouTubers, they have to create things. I do not blame them for not knowing the actual fundamentals of ammonia, the nitrogen cycle, the tests that they have done, and things like that. I do not blame them, because that's the reason why calyx ball has always been an intermediate to an advanced stage, where breeders or hobbyists, when they start to reach the intermediate stage and to the advanced stage, then of course they will be able to use it and harness the power of the calyx ball. So I do not blame YouTubers, because they are YouTubers for reasons, and they will share whatever they think that it is correct at that point of time. And I do not blame them, and it is also not my prerogative to actually try to challenge or try to change their mindset or anything, because progression is up to individual. Like for example, if you want to go from a beginner stage to intermediate stage, and then to be able to harness the power of the calyx ball, then you will have to first move from beginner to the intermediate stage. And the videos done by beginners wouldn't be the same concept or the level of intensity or the understanding as an intermediate and then to expert stage. So it's various. It is a pathway, it is a journey where we started from beginner to intermediate to an expert stage. So these are some of the areas where I think it is very important when we look at information. So I have a video that will be shared about information, because information at some point of time, it resonates with you. For example, if you're just starting out this hobby, there's a lot of information and you are not sure what to, which one is accurate. Normally what people will then think of is that, okay, I will use whatever that has the most view as a criteria for right information. However, it doesn't mean that the more views it is, that it is right. The reason is because the person who is going to do the video, you have to then decide if that person is actually sharing from a beginner standpoint or intermediate standpoint or an expert standpoint. And I wouldn't want to classify myself like an expert or anything, but I think we can actually see how many tanks we have. We usually do runs a lot of tests. We do the number of streams that we have, and the outreach program that we actually do as well. So I think people can actually decipher and then decide for themselves which information is actually accurate, because there are a lot of information saying that ammonia is bad, ammonia is bad. Yes, ammonia by itself is terrible, but however, if we are able to then use them to actually feed the beneficial bacteria, then there is not a problem. So for example, coming back to this particular question on ammonia and calyx bore and going on vacation, there is nobody to do a water change. What should we do? So this is basically very as we start to progress on. So in the beginner stage, we will think about it as, okay, it's very dangerous because ammonia will kill the shrimps. However, as we go to the intermediate and the expert stage, ammonia is your friend. Ammonia is now your friend because we need ammonia to constantly feed the beneficial bacteria. If there is no ammonia, then the beneficial bacteria will go into dormant stage. And how do we feed the beneficial bacteria with ammonia? In the classic example will be, when we feed shrimps, shrimps will then poop out, and then the poop will then be ammonia. So ammonia will then be converted to nitrite and nitrate. So that is the entire cycle of the nitrogen cycle. So that is the very common way. And as we go into the intermediate stage, as we start to use the calyx bore to provide more food for the shrimps, so that the shrimps will also, in other words, will also generate more ammonia, then the calyx bore by itself, because of its decomposition properties and process, because of how it's going to create the biofilm, it will release ammonia. But however, ammonia by itself is dangerous, but if it's going to be fed to the beneficial bacteria, then it is a positive outcome of it. So that is where we start to move on from the beginner stage to the intermediate stage. That is the step up. So if you want to level up, or you want to step up, or want to progress in this hobby, we will need to then be able to harness the power of ammonia. If we are able to then use them to our advantage, then there is not a problem. When we use the calyx bore and we go on a vacation for 2 or 3 weeks, for example, there's no water change. The only thing that will rise will be nitrate. So nitrate will definitely be going up. However, when nitrate levels, for example, up to 18, 90, even 100 ppm, it does not mean that it is very dangerous. It will only be very dangerous if it's gone up to very high levels. So far, we have not experienced such issues with nitrate. So when we think about ammonia and how it's being released, we can think of it as shrimps also release ammonia, because as they poop, they will release ammonia. Fishes releases ammonia as well because they poop, so they will release ammonia. So in that instance, are we afraid of the shrimps because they also produce ammonia? I think there are videos out there, I don't want to name who they are, the YouTubers or anybody. I know that there are fears and concerns about using the calyx bore, but that is perfectly fine, because as we want to start to progress on, we will then need to be able to fully utilize ammonia. So calyx bore is a step up. So whenever you are able to actually use the calyx bore, you have already arrived at a stage where you can actually control ammonia. The entire Italy, judging panel uses the calyx bore. There is no difference between them, myself, and whoever is listening to this. So even you who are going to use the calyx bore, you do not have to be afraid. So as long as you are able to control it, control the ammonia source and beneficial bacteria. So if the tank is cycled very well, for example in the Caridina tank, you give it a very good cycle, your fundamentals are right, your streams are surviving well, using the calyx bore will not be a problem, provided that you have cycled the tank really well. How do we know that you have cycled your tank really well? Is that your parameters first is spot on, second, your streams are breathing, third, you can look at whether they are copypots and things like that. If everything is in check, and when you use the calyx ball, it will help enhance the entire ecosystem in the tank. And the reason is because the constant ammonia source is feeding the beneficial bacteria, which in turn help to convert ammonia to nitrate eventually. It then be able to support more life, support more babies in future, because the tank is already ready. The beneficial bacteria is ready to take on more load. That is the significant difference between, when you move on from a beginner stage to an intermediate stage. So as we talk about ammonia, we must always be mindful that it has to be in conjunction with how much is your beneficial bacteria. As we can only measure ammonia, as we tend to focus on it. However, we cannot measure beneficial bacteria. But that is the reason why it is so important. When we talk about ammonia, we have to talk about beneficial bacteria. So I hope you guys, learn something from this video. It's been 5 hours since I've been working on the stream room. We have done quite a lot of resets, and as times go by, you will start to understand the notion of controlling ammonia through using beneficial bacteria. So beneficial bacteria, if your tank has very strong beneficial bacteria and you are very confident of your tank, using the calyx ball itself wouldn't cause any harm at all, because it has the ability to convert ammonia almost instantaneously. So it's up to you guys to look at how and where you want to go in this entire journey. There will be mistakes that you will make. However, we have long good history about using the calyx ball, and there are so many well-known breeders who are also using this calyx ball as well. And what is stopping you from attaining or leveling up in this hobby is really about yourself. It's you versus you. You will decide when you want to move up. You will decide when is fear going to hold you back. If fear is always going to hold you back, then it's very difficult for you to move forward. I think that is where you have to really think through what is really important. You can definitely give it a go, and what's the worst outcome? The worst outcome is that whenever you see a tank, for example, if you add a calyx ball, it turns cloudy. And when it turns cloudy, it means that there is a bacterial bloom, which also means that there is insufficient beneficial bacteria to convert the ammonia to nitrate. So bacterial bloom happens because there's insufficient beneficial bacteria. And that is the telltale sign that your tank isn't sufficient. So you can then remove the calyx ball. There is really no harm to it, which also means that the tank is not able to sustain more life form until there is sufficient beneficial bacteria. If there are 50 ppm, like for example 50 ppm of ammonia and 50 ppm of beneficial bacteria, as an example, then it will then equalize. You will reach an equilibrium that there will be no ammonia spike, which means that everything that is coming out will be converted to nitrate. However, if the streams are trying to breed more and you want to have more streamlets, the ammonia count will naturally increase, like for example from 50 to 100. But there is only 50 ppm of beneficial bacteria, for example, and that will not be able to sustain the amount of ammonia immediately. And that's where the bacterial bloom happens, and then slowly the beneficial bacteria will start to consume and produce and colonize more and more until it reaches 100. So when it reaches 100, it will then be able to sustain the new or additional life form. In other words, which is the stream. So having that thought process, having that understanding about ammonia, having the understanding about beneficial bacteria, it will help you. So that is the reason why filtration is so important. It is not about cleaning the water, it's about colonizing a lot of the beneficial bacteria. The higher the colonization of the beneficial bacteria, the better your tank water will be. And it is sad to say, that a lot of times, especially YouTubers who are in it to gain views, or they are not at the level or intermediate level, they will share information that is what they think it is right. And we don't blame them, because they do. I don't see YouTubers going to competition. I don't see YouTubers going outreach program. We don't see that. And the reason is because they have a role in this entire ecosystem. The role for them, I think, which I really appreciate them, is really to share information to the masses. However, right or wrong, is up to individual to actually look at and different perspective. And as we move forward to intermediate and expert stage, there is really no information that is being shared accurately. And the reason is because there isn't anybody who are at the intermediate stage or the expert stage who are trying to share this information. The reason is because as we start to progress on to the intermediate and the expert stage, there will be a lot of time being spent on the tanks, 50, 100 tanks, and to actually come out, to actually allocate, or even to spend time to share all this information requires a lot of time. First, second, the audience is actually very narrow, which means that it doesn't help YouTube algorithm at all. So in essence, it is actually a lose-lose. First, you lose time. Second, you will not be able to gain a lot of views because there's not many intermediate or expert stage hobbies. It is actually a lose-lose for people like myself to actually share this information, because first, YouTube would not push out or would not share this to the right people, because there isn't many of these people around. And we usually take a yardstick, like for example, the number of people joining a competition, the number of people who are really truly into this hobby and willing to spend time to do some tests, have a lot of tanks, and really understand the stream behavior and things like that. So in terms of the population, in terms of the outreach, it will be very little. So the audience is very little. However, we will need to start somewhere, and that's the reason why we start doing this, and we will not shy away, because it does not YouTube doesn't, I've spoken to a lot of YouTube support specialists, and they told me that my channel and the content is way too niche and way too advanced and there are very few of these people that they can actually show these videos to. However, I'm also very appreciative of a lot of the supporters that I get, and the reason is because as people move from beginner to intermediate stage, they realize the amount of time and effort that is required to actually sustain a stream room. First, second, to do your own food. Third, to share information, to do YouTube, to write blogs, to create websites, to actually share and engage the community. So at the intermediate stage, there are lesser people, but however, I'm very grateful, really grateful for a lot of the supporters who share all this information with me, giving me feedbacks, and also helping me. So I wouldn't name the people here because but they have actually helped me grow in this hobby as well, regardless whether it is from a stream perspective. I'm also very appreciative for those who are helping me. As you can see, there are some changes to, like for example, the calyx ball, the zip ties, like for example the tag lines and things like that. So I'm very grateful for people who actually see the effort, the value that we have been sharing, that we have been providing. And not everybody is good at everything, and I think that's where I'm very happy that people actually come up to me and then say that, hey Ben, you can actually improve on this area, and this is how you do it. And I really appreciate that, because nobody knows everything, and nobody can be an expert for everything. So really appreciate that. And that's the reason why whenever there's a question, whenever there's something that I can actually help with hobbies, I would definitely do so. However, what I would not do is that I would not badmouth any of the YouTubers, saying that their method is not right, or anything. However, and that's the reason why we do have our own method, and it has proven over the years that it is beneficial for growth and progress for your own hobby. And definitely also, if it translates to your life, then that's really good as well. So the coming back to this topic about ammonia and beneficial bacteria, we really have to understand then, to be able to harness like I said, to be able to harness the power of the calyx ball, and to understand your tank's beneficial bacteria colonization speed, amount, and saturation. I think that is where you will then be able to fully utilize the calyx ball's benefits of it. Right, there are a lot of people who are very successful in using the calyx ball, and once you have started using it and you have seen the results, you will continue to use them. And that is the reason why we have so many of this support from breeders who are very, very supportive with us for many, many, many years. And because they have seen the value of it, they have seen that there is really, really good outcome of it, and to use them and to really, really help to build the entire stream room better, because the calyx ball is one of the things that is a lifesaver. We do not use leaves, and one of the reasons for not using leaf, the most part of it, is because we have live plants in the tank. Whenever we have live plants in the tank, we do not require additional leaf, because leaves die back, and then it will act like a katapang leaf or an Indian almond leaf. So we do not use that. Second, it does not discolor. Third, we do not add unnecessary risk or potentially any pesticide or fungicide or anything that is sprayed onto the leaves. We do not need to then boil the leaves or anything. So I understand that I mean, the leaves are perfectly fine. You can use it. I do not want to say that it is not good. However, we do not use it, and the reasons for not using it is because of those that I've just mentioned. So with all of this in place, I would think that having a very good beneficial bacteria, cycle your tank well, utilizing your ammonia, I think once you are able to do that, you will then move on to the intermediate stage, and then finally to the expert stage. So once you arrive at the expert stage, you will then be able to then really focus on selective breeding, really focus on what to use and choose to do selective breeding and things like that, to be able to actually ascertain and be able to visualize and observe when a stream is in distress, when a stream is able when is the stream is not able to, when the tank is not doing well, just by the looks, just by the behavior of the stream, like sluggish and things like that. So but that is on an entire another video that I will put in the member section only, just for the experts. And the reason is because as you start to move on from intermediate to expert, you have to then be able to discern and be able to observe what is critical, what is going to change the entire tank's ecosystem, and being able to actually observe it quickly will actually save your entire tank in time. And I have saved a lot of tanks in time because through observation you can actually know that your tank is not going to be in a good shape in a matter of a few days or few weeks. You'll be able to actually foresee or foretell what's going to happen. And instead of I mean, there's different methods to it. So if you are very interested in all this, you know, do sign up for being a member, because that is where I will really put in a lot of thoughts through it, and to share all this information. And it's not that I do not want to share it in the and categorize them into a beginner stage or the intermediate stage. It's because we have to go through a pathway and a progression. If you are not able to even utilize or understand the nitrogen cycle and utilize ammonia, then it's very difficult for you to move on to the next stage, because then you will be afraid that this will cause that, that will cause this. So all these concerns are should be, you know, validated. All these concerns should not happen when you are in the expert stage, because when you are in the expert stage, you will then be able to harness all this knowledge holistically and be able to make decision based on what you know already. So if you are not able to even use or utilize a calyx ball, or no, then start from the beginning and then slowly pave your way up to the intermediate stage, and then slowly pave your way up to the expert stage. So I think that is where it is very important, and that's where we kind of like look at it and differentiate. Because if you're not able to do the intermediate stage and try to do an expert observation, but not knowing the background and the knowledge behind it, is going to be very, very difficult to explain it. Because how are we going to explain something when you don't even understand the ammonia cycle, don't understand the fundamentals of stream or water parameters? It takes time for us to learn. I think that is important. And the experience, you know, if you have a lot of things, of course, then you get hit with a lot of good experience. And that's the reason why when we are in the expert stage, when we have a lot of things, we cannot spend time trying to look at it and spend 3-4 hours trying to do your tests, trying to do your checks and everything. But to quickly go through your tanks and look at it and then make a decision if it's something that is going to happen maybe 7 to 14 days later. So these are some of the areas where I would, you know, now focus on putting a lot of effort, putting a lot more videos out for the expert areas, so that I want to build people from the intermediate stage and then push them up to the expert stage. Once you are in the expert stage, you will then be able to clearly be able to discern between a problem and a potential problem. And that will help you a lot, especially for people with a lot more tanks, 30, 50 tanks. It will help you in that journey as well. So long story short, I really, really appreciate all the comments, all the support that you guys have been giving me so far. And I will continue to share all this information as best as I can. And it's the festive season soon. I will have a little bit more time, and I will try to put in more effort in churning out more videos for the expert section. So thank you guys for watching this video, and until next time, peace out.